Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Travis back again here with Big Boy Toy Reviews. It's been a minute since I've put a review out, mostly because I don't get toys in often enough. I do buy them, but they usually sit in the virtual warehouse forever because most of the figures that I get are from overseas, and I let them pile up because it's better to have them pile up and then get them shipped than to just buy one figure and have to pay like $40 to get it shipped. So I usually let them pile up. I do have a big unboxing coming soon of a bunch of figures. So with that particular strategy, obviously I don't get to put out reviews as often and as soon as most people, but that's just the way it is, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Fortunately, I was able to get this guy pretty early from BBTS. They released him pretty quick, so let's go ahead and take a look at his packaging. All right, so real quick, we're just gonna do a roundabout here on the box. Nothing really that fantastic about the box. Obviously, I do like what they're doing with the boxes. They are basically following the trend of like the Dragon Ball Z's and all the other figures that SH Figuarts put out. Obviously, you know who this is. This is SH Figuarts Roanoa Zoro. From the raid of Onigashima. So it's that version of Zoro. And we're gonna get into it. I did get to mess around with him for a little bit. He does obviously get a Luffy Build-A-Figure, which that seems to be the case with these One Piece figures. They are, guess each figure is coming with a Luffy face, which, okay, I guess. I mean, is that an incentive for people to buy the other figures so they can get other Luffy faces? In my opinion, they should be coming with like Luffy special effects, like stretchy arms or stretchy legs or hockey hands, hockey arms, hockey legs. You know, something like that instead of just faces. But that's what they've decided to do, and so they're going to keep going on. I am going to continue with this line despite the flaws of each figure they've released so far, because I love One Piece. And so I'm currently playing Pirate Warriors 4 because they came out with an expansion pack with Gear 5 Luffy, Hybrid Kaido, and Yamamoto. And so I was not playing the game prior to that. I had not even owned the game until I saw that they put out that DLC, and then it came up free on PlayStation Plus. And so I was able to get the game for free, paid $30 for the DLC, and that is that. It's a wonderful game. I think it's the best One Piece game out, even over Odyssey. I believe the Pirate Warriors franchise is a bit better than that. But anyway, that's it for the box, so let's get on to the figure. All right, so getting a close-up on the figure, I will say the appearance, the aesthetics of the figure are really good. His head sculpt is really nice. His hair is really nice. His face is done really nice. The scar on his chest, I think they could have done some kind of shading in his chest. That's unfortunate they didn't do that. I am ashy as hell, please excuse me being ashy. The paints on his buttons here are nice. This his swords here, this is an accessory, but I went on ahead and put it on him because who's going to display Zoro without his swords? But technically, this is an accessory, and it's not as much of a pain as a pain in the ass to put on as I thought it was initially when I took it out the box. and I'll show you what I did to get it on, just in case you do decide to buy this figure and no one else has pointed it out. Other than that, I do like the sculpting in his robe here. I wish they would have come. I wish he would have come with another torso that didn't have the robe on, and just had him bare chested with some arms and stuff. But I'll show you why I think they could have easily done it, because he's pretty easy to take apart. But yeah, everything I think is done very nicely on here. His boots are done really well with the wrinkles. Again, him being in all black, I guess it would have been tough to put some kind of shading, but I think they could have put maybe some gray in there to have some shading in his robe. But the sword scabbards are done really nicely. They're painted really well. I do like the kind of the exaggerated portions of his hands, because the animation in One Piece can easily be taken like that. They do have exaggerated portions on a lot of their characters, and I think I have seen Zoro with hands that are pretty big. Like if you look at the front of the box, look how big his hand is that's grabbing the sword. So yeah, I mean, he does tend to have exaggerated proportions in some. I shouldn't say proportions, exaggerated limbs like hands and feet, depending on who drew it. But yeah, everything else looks really good. Aesthetically, I think he's really nicely done. I don't see a lot of paint blemishes. The ones that are there, you can barely see with the naked eye, so that's good. But yeah, all in all, I think that's fantastic. Aesthetically, I don't see a whole lot of problems with the figure. But most of the issues are obviously going to come with articulation. So before we get on articulations, let's take a look at his accessories. So we'll start off with his hands. And so he does get two of these open palm hands. And those are the hands that you saw. There's just like the hands you saw in the box that were trying to grab his sword. There is some really bad flashing on mine, so that sucks. That is unacceptable for a $67 figure, at least on BBTS. That's how much it was. $67 for this guy when Luffy was $35. I'm not quite sure why that's the case. Then you saw the fist. You saw the fist on him earlier. Those are the fists that he comes with. Or he comes with two fist hands also. Obviously, came in the box. More flashing on these hands. So why? I don't understand why I have to deal with this on a $70 figure. But flashing on the hands, this is SH Figuarts has been around for a long time. There's no excuse for this kind of stuff here. It's just not. You can see the lines in the hands. As far as hands go, they're done fine. They're pretty plain. You do have the nails sculpted and stuff, but seeing mold lines and flashing and stuff, it's just not unacceptable for a company that's been around as long as SH Figuarts. Then he does come with, I guess technically 4 faces, 5 faces if you include, I guess 5 faces if you include the one Build-A-Figure part for Luffy, and then another head. So here are the faces that he comes with. He comes with one. Now the faces are done really nicely. I had some schmutz on there. The faces are done really nicely. I do like this one. This is the smiling face. Then we have a yelling, like sweating, nervous face, or scared face, or yelling face. I'm not quite sure. Then we have the yelling, angry face. I do like the veins in his forehead there. That's pretty cool. Then we have the Luffy face. So here's the Luffy face. So he does come with the similar face that came with him for Luffy. So I guess this was part of the anime at some point. They made this expression together. This is typically how they do that. I don't remember that part in the anime. It's been a while since I've watched that. And then he does come with another head with his bandana on, and then the open mouth that can hold the sword. And you can see in here it has like a little kind of peg sticking out right there, and I'll show you the sword that goes inside of that peg. And then he comes with another piece for his arm, so you can take off the I guess you can take off this bandana piece and just have a piece without the bandana. I suppose that might be, I guess that's the scarf that goes on his head. So when he's wearing that on his head, he can have this piece to display that he's not wearing it because he's wearing it on his head. Sure, that's fine. I don't feel how necessary that was. I don't think anybody would have pointed it out that much, but I'm glad it came with it. I would have liked some kind of effect pieces, because Zoro does display a pretty gangster amount of hockey during the Land of Wano arc. So anyway, then we'll get his swords. Now, don't get me started. I do not remember the name of the swords. So, don't try to cancel me or call me like not a real fan, because I don't remember all the Zoro swords right now at the moment. But this is, I know one of them is Enma. This one might be Enma. I think I do remember that name at least. So that's done really nicely. I don't know if this one's Enma. I don't remember if it was the black blade, but he has a bunch of black blades. So I don't know. But that's done really nicely. It is plastic, it's not metal. Then we have his other sword here with the purple handle. I don't remember what this sword is called, but very similar to the previous one. The only difference is this part, really. So that's painted really nicely. They're both painted really nicely. I'm sure you can probably tell if you're really into Zoro. You can probably tell by that piece whether which one is Enma or not. And then we have the white sword. Now I know this sword came from the chick that he used to battle against when he was in sword fighting school or whatever. I think this is the same one. But this is the one that goes in his mouth, because you can see it has a whole slot there for the little peg that's sticking out of his mouth. Now, is this, I don't recall because I never really paid attention. Is this the only sword he ever puts in his mouth? Because if that's the case, then I guess it's accurate. But I thought he almost put any sword in his mouth. Is it just this one that he puts in his mouth? Let me know in the comments below. But and that is it for accessories. So moving on to articulation, and this is where we're probably going to find most of the issues with this figure. His head is on a ball joint. It pops off extremely easy, unfortunately. So you have to be really careful when posing him, because there is no pop when you put this head on, so you don't feel it at all. But he does get a good range of motion. He can look up that far. Can look down that far. He does have the issue with a lot of SH Figuart figures where the face starts coming off when he looks too far down. If you use the neck joint, you can look down a lot further. But he can't move all around on that neck joint or that ball joint. Just be aware that his head will pop off very easily. And he does have feels like a double ball peg in his neck. So really good movement in the head and neck. As far as the shoulders are concerned, you can get them up. You kind of have to adjust it a little bit to tuck that piece under his shoulder, but he can go a little better than horizontal. He does have a bicep swivel here right at the bandana piece, and he does have double jointed elbows, which look fine. They look good for a guy with a robe on. You can kind of hide the joint, but the joint doesn't look bad. It really doesn't look bad. He doesn't get a ton of range of motion, just a little bit better than 90. But unfortunately, because of the bagginess of the robe, I guess that's fine. He doesn't have a swivel here, which I thought he might have had, but he doesn't. The wrist is a wrist joint. It's a hinge joint, which most wrists are. Of course, the fists also have flashing at the bottom. I might get a knife and try to fix that, but it's unfortunate that it came with the figure. As far as his chest, obviously you're not going to get a whole bunch of range of motion in here because of the robe, so he can only go forward about that much. Back, see, there's that head, only about that much. This is before I use the waist joint. But if you want to use the waist joint, you can twist. You do get side to side. You're not going to get a lot of it here, but you're going to get most of it down here, side to side, like so. And then if you want, you can get him a good amount further, but that'll happen. So that's where you get to the issues with this figure. And obviously now he's kind of falling apart everywhere. The QC is not good. The QC on this figure is not good at all. He's kind of floppy at the waist. These pieces come off really easily. I'm gonna go ahead and take those off so I can kind of show you the the articulation and how they have this set up. Now, he's not, okay, I shouldn't say he's floppy. He's not a floppy mess, but it's too easy for him to just disconnect at any point, especially when you throw the belt on, which you will need because obviously you don't want him looking like this. And then you have all these extra pieces stacked up. You have all these extra pieces stacked on there. So you throw this piece here, right? And then you throw this piece on here. You're basically taking a lot of that room where that joint could be sitting on and not giving it as much room as it needs for him to be able to move around without popping off, because this is taking up a lot of space. And then you have his swords, excuse me, not his swords, but his belt is then also taking up space. And obviously you can see that this is an issue. I'm gonna go ahead and just take these out for right now. These are kind of a pain to deal with, these swords. I can easily see these disconnecting. I think they're just glued together. It would have been nice if they had just put this on like some kind of ball joint, and therefore we can easily slide this in and out of this belt. But the way that they have it glued together, it makes it really difficult for you to slide those in there. You do have to take the handles off. Obviously, it has the fake handles in order to get that sword, in order to get these in there. Then it has one peg there and a hole there. The hole is for this scabbard here, and then that peg pegs into that scabbard there. It's easier to do this when you take the belt off and peg it in that way. Maybe that's why they made it so easy for him to be, for his torso to be removable, in order to accommodate for how terrible this whole setup is with these swords. They could have just glued the swords into the belt. This being an accessory is completely unnecessary. They could have just glued these to the belt, which I will probably end up doing, because when do you ever see Zoro without his swords? just doesn't make any sense. If they were going to use a system like this, they could have come up with something better than this. This is just not. It's just not a good design. It's just not a good design. And I'll show you some other Zoro figures that thought of this whole situation way better than SH Figuarts. SH Figuarts did. What's crazy is that those figures already existed. SH Figuarts could have just taken a page out of that book and did it similar to how Variable Action Heroes did it. And I'll show you that when I should do the comparisons. But let's try to get him back together and continue with the articulation. All right, so I'll put him back together off camera. So we did the wrist, we did the waist. All right, we did his whole upper body here. It's not great. Now for the legs. Also not great. I probably should have just kept him apart for this, but let's just do this. I'm just gonna pop this leg out because as soon as you try to get him to raise his leg, it's just gonna pop out anyway. The way that they have this out, let's see if I can get the camera under there. I can't. I'm gonna have to take them apart again just to show you. This is how they have the joints. This is ridiculous. This is the joint that they picked. It's not even a joint. It's just a friction peg. Why? $67. $67. This is just a friction peg. Now, I will say this one isn't popping out. So I don't know what the deal is with this one, but this leg does not want to. I'll show you here in a second, but this leg keeps popping out for me. I don't know if that's an issue for everybody else, but that is definitely an issue for me. So like getting his legs up, you can't. They didn't even bother sculpting this crotch out because they were like, well, he's going to have the skirt on, so he's not going to have the articulation anyway. People aren't going to really care that his legs don't go all the way up because he has a big old robe on, and they don't really care about articulation. False, wrong. I'd rather have articulation there that I can't use because of the design of the character, of just how they made the character, how they drew the character, instead of not having articulation there just because the company thought we didn't need it. Because that's what happened here. They just thought we didn't need it. And so they didn't bother giving us proper joints. They didn't bother giving us proper ball joints here. They just gave us friction pegs. And so while he can get it spread, I'm just going to show you what the legs can do because the robe is going to be blocking it. While you can get good splits out of it, you can go back more than you can go forward. Like, obviously you can tell that this is his butt crack, so you know that's the back. They sculpted out more room for the butt to go backwards than they did for his leg to go forwards. Look how far back they can go. It's completely turned the wrong way. This is the opposite of what you want. And so it's just ridiculous. This whole design is just ridiculous for a toy company that has been making toys for decades at this point. This is just Bush League nonsense for $67, $70, $80, however much you could probably pay for this thing. The knee joint is nice. The knee joint is fine. He can't go past 90 there. There is a rotation in the boot, so I do like that. The foot goes down that much, up that much, and so it doesn't go forward very much, but it does have a fantastic ankle rocker. That's really nice. I like the design of that. That's really good. I think more companies should implement a rocker like that. Oh, and then we have a toe hinge, which is tight, but not great. So, yeah, the leg articulation is just poorly designed. I have two figures. Make this crotch better, these legs better. From here down, it's fine. From the oh, I forgot about the thigh swivel too. From the thigh swivel down, it's fine. It's just this crotch area that's horrible. So I don't know. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I know a lot of people, a lot of people are super excited about SH Figuarts finally redoing the One Piece line, because One Piece has gotten really popular right now, and they're obviously capitalizing and jumping on the bandwagon. When they did release figures way back in the day, I had like one. I think I had the Nami from like the first arc. I forget, Alabasta or whatever. Was it Alabasta or was that Robin? I don't remember. Like him just standing there, he looks good. Like the head sculpt is nice. The proportioning is all right. For Zoro, he does look a little skinny, but it's just unfortunate what they did with the articulation. But I'll get past that. Let's move on to a few comparisons, and then we can get the hell out of here. So first off, I'll just compare him to Luffy, the SH Figuarts Luffy that just came out. I have not done a review of him yet. That will be coming right after this one, either after or before this one. I haven't decided yet, but probably afterwards. But I think the proportioning here is good. Zoro is supposed to be taller than Luffy, so that's really good. So I do like these guys together. Obviously, he has some slight issues as well. Let's pop that face on really quick and see what it looks like on Luffy. Let's see, where's his face at? I have not done this yet, so let's see if these things actually fit. They should. I'm also not a fan of this joint, but we'll get to that on the Luffy review. Okay, there we go. There we go. Put his hairpiece back on there. Come on. Put the hairpiece. Come on. Also, why are none of the Build-A-Figure pieces a hat with a string on it, so you can have him without a hat on, with the hat on his back? I don't know, but yeah, the head is really good. I don't mind the whole Build-A-Luffy thing that they're doing with this One Piece line. If they keep going with it, that's lovely. I'm really waiting for that Gear 5. But I'm definitely getting the Kaido. I'm absolutely getting Yamamoto. But yeah, that face looks good. So that's him with his SH Figuarts counterpart and captain, Luffy. All right, so here he is with variable action heroes. Rono or Zoro. They don't specify on the packaging which version of Zoro this one is. But just to give you an example of what they could have done, like I said, this was already an existing thing. So look how they did his swords. So they're detachable here, and it's just like a hinge, ball hinge, and a peg here. And then they just slide in. Slide in just like that. No problem. Granted, this is a bigger figure. The ball peg obviously would have had to been smaller on this Zoro. But so it could have been as thick as what, a wrist peg, and that would have been fine. That would have been fine. I'll give you another example. This Zoro. So this is the Land of Wano, I think, Zoro. I think that's what they call this one. So this is also Variable Action Heroes. I'll do a review on this guy. I think this was a re-release. I did get him this year. I'll do a review of him, and I was gonna just show you this, show this Luffy when I did the Luffy review, but I'll just do the comparison now with this Zoro. Obviously, these are probably scaled better with like your Storm Collectibles or something like that. But I want to say the Storm Collectibles are actually probably bigger than this. So this probably is more in the line of like a more McFarlane size. But I don't have any McFarlane figures, and I can't get this Luffy to stand, so fuck it. But yeah, this Zoro, move Luffy out the way. I'll give you an example of how this Zoro's swords are here. He also has that same gimmick to where his sword had to go into his belt. But look what they did. They just glued it in. They just glued it in. That's it. That's all you needed to do. His articulation is probably better than as far as up here. It's fine. But that's all they had to do. They made this a hard plastic. But look, the joint system is no different than anything else. He is a little loose in some areas, but just regular joints. Just regular old joints. So, I don't know why they decided to go the route they did with that version of Zoro. I really don't. With the SH Figuarts version of Zoro, it's just not good. It's just not good. But I do still like the figure. These are all the comparisons I'm going to do, by the way. I do still like the figure. I do think if you are a fan of One Piece, this is probably the best 6-inch Zoro you're going to get. Same with Luffy. That's probably the best 6-inch version of Luffy you're going to possibly get. So if you're really into it, then I say get it. Also, just really quick, I did have this head. This is the head that Zoro can hold his swords in his mouth. All the swords fit in his mouth, not just one. So that's why I asked, why did they only make it to where that one sword could fit in that Zoro's mouth, when this Zoro, all the swords can fit? So I don't know why they did it that way. He actually has two heads too, because I'm pretty sure Zoro was putting the sword in his mouth with and without the bandana on. So just disappointing in the accessories. It's disappointing in the articulation. But anyway, that's it for comparisons. I'll give you my final thoughts. Final thoughts. This Zoro is cool. I like it. I think I said that already. I'm definitely glad he's in my collection. I'm definitely going to keep him, but unfortunately he is not going to be a super dynamic character sitting on my shelf. I might get him in one good pose and just kind of have him standing there forever. He's not, the playability of this character is not very high. But as far as the SH Figuarts line, like I said, this is the best 6-inch Zoro you're probably going to get. So I say get him. I do recommend him. Just know that the issues that I pointed out may also exist in your figure. I don't know if it's just QC issues with mine or if this is happening throughout this first batch. Hopefully he gets a re-release and they fix it. If they re-release him in a year or so, I'll probably get him again to do a review and see if they fix the issues, but they probably won't. But that's it for the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.